My name is Lillian, and I was 26 years old the night my sister destroyed 2 lives with a single sentence. It was raining so hard that night, the windows shook with every crash of thunder. I still remember the sound because it blended with the panic in my chest. My sister stood in my doorway with a suitcase in her hand. Her eyes were cold, empty, like she'd already left before her body did. Behind her, on my couch, was her 10-year-old son, Ethan. He was burning with fever. His breathing was shallow and uneven. The doctors had already warned us his illness was serious, chronic, and unpredictable. He could collapse without warning. He needed constant care. I begged her not to go. I grabbed her sleeve. I cried. I reminded her he was her child. She laughed. Not nervously, not sadly. She laughed and said words that carved themselves into my memory forever. "He's your child now." Then she ripped her arm free, walked out with her lover, and slammed the door without looking back. That was the moment my life split in two. I didn't know how to raise a child. I barely knew how to survive myself. I worked long hours, lived paycheck to paycheck, and suddenly my world became hospital rooms, medication schedules, school meetings, and nights spent counting breaths instead of sleeping. Ethan would wake up screaming in pain, calling for his mother. I would hold him and lie. I told him she'd come back. I told him everything would be okay. One night, through fever-glazed eyes, he asked me something no child should ever ask. "Aunt Lillian, did I do something bad?" My heart shattered silently. The medical bills piled up fast. I sold my car, then my jewelry, then anything that wasn't nailed down. Friends stopped calling when I kept canceling plans. My sister never called. Not once. No money, no questions, no messages. It was like she erased him. At night, when Ethan finally slept, I sat alone at the kitchen table surrounded by pill bottles and paperwork, wondering how a mother could disappear so completely. I was exhausted, angry, terrified, but I was also determined. Years passed. Ethan grew taller, stronger, smarter. The doctors were shocked. The boy they once doubted would survive learned discipline from pain, resilience from abandonment, kindness from being loved when he expected none. I worked 2 jobs. I cried in the shower so he wouldn't hear me. I smiled through exhaustion because he needed me to be strong. People said I was throwing my life away, but every time Ethan smiled, every time he accidentally called me Mom and blushed, I knew I'd made the right choice. 17 years later, my sister returned like a ghost. She walked into a family gathering wearing expensive clothes, laughing loudly, acting like nothing had happened. When she finally looked at me, she glanced around the room and asked casually, "So what happened to the poor boy I left behind?" The words hit me like a slap. Before I could answer, the door opened. A tall man in a suit stepped inside. The room went silent. He walked straight to me, placed his hand on my shoulder, and smiled. "Aunt Lillian," he said proudly, "I'm here." My sister's face drained of color. That man was Ethan. The sick child she abandoned had become someone who commanded silence just by standing there. He didn't hug her. He didn't yell. He repeated her words back to her calmly. "He's your child now." He told her how those words fueled every hospital stay, every sleepless night, every painful step forward. He explained that family isn't who gives birth to you, it's who stays when leaving would be easier. He gestured toward me. She stayed. My sister collapsed, crying, begging to fix the past. Ethan shook his head gently. Some choices create distances time can't undo. Then he turned away. Later that night, Ethan hugged me the same way he did as a child, tight, familiar, safe. "You saved my life," he whispered. I wanted to tell him he saved mine too. That night, I realized something. Love doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it looks like staying when someone else runs, and that choice can change everything.